Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Bibliophila, where I discuss books that inspire us, enrich our minds and broaden our mental horizon. Let's begin today's episode with a review of yet another book. Today, I'll be talking about a book, Journey to the Center of the Earth by Jules Verne. This book is a classic science fiction novel first published in French in 1864. It was the third novel in Jules Verne's strange journeys, the first of which was the highly successful novel 5 Weeks in a Balloon, first published in 1862. Based on the assumption that the earth is hollow and the volcanoes are possibly linked by subterranean fissures, Journey to the Center of the Earth revolves around the discovery and exploration of a secret tunnel leading through a volcano to the center of the earth. German professor Otto Liedenbrock, his nephew Axel and an Icelandic guide set out on an adventure from which return seems unlikely. The story is narrated by Axel, who is reluctant about the journey but embarks on it just to win the hand of Grauben in marriage. On the 24th of May 1863, Professor Liedenbrock rushed into the house and dragged his nephew Axel upstairs to the library. There he showed him a 700-year-old manuscript written by the most celebrated Icelandic author of the 12th century, Snorri Sturluson. Within the pages of the book, they found a piece of parchment 5 inches by 3 containing some mysterious characters etched by the most celebrated Icelandic savant and alchemist of the 16th century, Arne Saknussemm. A man of deep learning, Otto Liedenbrock would not rest or sleep until he had found out the meaning of those mysterious characters. Neither he nor his nephew Axel could make out the meaning of it. They tried every language possible, such as English, Latin, French, Italian, Hebrew, German, Spanish, etc., but in vain. Visibly distressed, Otto Liedenbrock went out for a stroll and his nephew started to sort out some nodules. During this time, the manuscript was used by Axel to fan himself, and in one of those rapid revolutions, he caught sight of the Latin words craterem, terrestre and others. A sudden light burst in upon me. These hints alone gave me the first glimpse of the truth. I had discovered the key to the cipher. To read the document, it would not even be necessary to read it through the paper. Such as it was, just such as it had been dictated to me, so it might be spelt out with ease. All those ingenious professorial combinations were coming right. He was right as to the arrangement of the letters, he was right as to the language. He had been within a hair's breadth of reading this Latin document from end to end, but that hair's breadth chance had given it to me. Axel was determined not to disclose his secret to his uncle, who was sure to go mad about it. Unfortunately, his uncle starved him for nights on end and was so distressed about the piece of parchment that Axel was compelled to give in. When Professor Liedenbrock heard that the manuscript was to be read from the end to the beginning and that it was written in Latin, he immediately translated the manuscript, which read, "Descend, bold traveller, into the crater of the Jokul of Sneffels, which the shadow of Scartaris touches before the calends of July, and you will attain the center of the earth, which I have done, Arne Saknussemm." Professor Liedenbrock's joy knew no bounds when he heard what was written in the manuscript. He immediately started packing his trunk to embark on the journey. They took a train to Copenhagen and then a ship Valkyria to Reykjavik. They stayed in the house of M. Fredriksson, who was the professor of natural sciences in the school of Reykjavik. This book provides an insight into the life of the local Icelandic people. There was a small church built in the Protestant style, made out of calcined stone extracted out of volcanoes. There was a little lake and a public cemetery enclosed by a mud wall. The governor's house was a hut compared to the town hall in Copenhagen and a palace compared to the houses of the local Icelandic people. There was hardly any vegetation, just bare rocks with signs of volcanic activity. With an Icelandic guide with the name of Hans Jelke, they set out to the south of Snæfell through the village of Stapi. After a long and arduous climb, they reached the summit of Snæfell and located the correct crater to descend to the center of the earth. After traveling for many days, they reached a fork. Professor Liedenbrock chose the eastern tunnel, but after traveling for 3 days, they saw that the history of the Carboniferous period was visible and they realized they were mistaken. They returned and took the correct tunnel. After some days, their water supplies were famished, but fortunately, Hans found a subterranean river which they followed thereafter. One day, Axel was lost in a tunnel, but an acoustic phenomena helped him to communicate with his uncle and rejoin him. They saw lakes, rivers, seas, oceans, waterfalls, forests and even fossils of certain extinct animals. They observed different kinds of dinosaurs, birds, fishes, insects, etc. They were caught up in an electrical storm which lasted for days. A fireball struck their raft, but fortunately the storm drove their vessel ashore. As they were traveling, they noticed a herd of mastodons tamed by a gigantic man. They sped away. After traveling for many days, the torrent pushed them upwards, and due to a volcanic activity, they landed up in Stromboli Island off the coast of Italy. Jules Verne's novels combine scientific facts with adventurous fiction. Most of Verne's technical information is taken from his friend, a French seismologist, but a lot of scrupulous detail underpins a narrative of fresh imaginative inventiveness, which makes Journey to the Center of the Earth both compelling and convincing. I sincerely hope that you have liked this analysis of the book Journey to the Center of the Earth by Jules Verne. If you have, please do not forget to like, share, comment and subscribe. I have provided the links of my previous videos in the description below so that you may watch them. I'll be back again with an analysis of yet another book. Till then, happy reading.